guys, it's Abby. Today I will be doing a book review on CINDER. I finished this a couple days ago and I'm so excited to talk about it because me and this book had a good time together. You know, like you finish a book and you're like, that was good. We had a thing going there. Like, we are good friends now. Sorry if I am talking weird or anything like that. I have bronchitis. So that's super fun. I'm sure all of you have heard of CINDER. I am like a bajillion years late to the party, and I don't know what took me so long to get to this book or this series, but I'm so happy. I immediately ordered the second one. My goal to finish the series this year is like already gonna be done like halfway through the year. I'm so excited. So if you are like me and had no idea what this book is about, CINDER by Marissa Meyer is a take on Cinderella. That's how the whole series works. It's different fairy tales. This one is about a girl named Cinder. She is a cyborg, so she is half human, half robot. At first, that kind of turned me off. I was like, that's kind of lame. But oh my god, it's so cool. So all of these books take place in this like sci-fi, futuristic, dystopian society. Cinder, the cyborg, is adopted into this family, but the husband who adopted her dies in a crash or something like that. I can't remember the specific details. And she is stuck with her very nasty stepmother and two stepsisters. She went through like a surgery and she doesn't remember any part of her life before she turned into a cyborg when she was 11. So that's also a little aspect because that leaves a very mysterious past. So you kind of see the parallel between Cinderella and this story, but I did not feel like it was overwhelming, that the fairy tale aspect was like holding the story back. I felt like that wasn't it at all. It kept the basic premise of Cinderella, where she is the abused child and she's dirty and she's pretty, but no one can tell that she's pretty because she's so dirty, and there's the shoe illusion and things like that. But other than that, it was not super Cinderella-y, you know what I mean? And I really loved Cinder's character, not Cinderella. And this takes place in New Beijing, so this is after they've had the Fourth World War, I believe, and all of the countries are different and the continents are all divided, and they are ruled under a prince, and the emperor is dying from this plague that is just ripping through New Beijing and all of the New America. I can't remember what they call it, but it's ripping through everything. And the cyborgs, like Cinder, are being used to test this disease, and they're being put into a draft, and basically they're killing off all the cyborgs to try and find a cure to save all the humans. And an interesting aspect of this book is the amount of prejudice and discrimination that cyborgs experience. And I feel like it's alluding to society and how we separate ourselves racially, and the racial prejudice and homophobia and just all these different things. And I felt that was really strong in this book because there's nothing wrong with being a cyborg. And I felt like it was alluding to so much more than just this world. I think it's saying a lot about our society, a lot about how we function as people, how prejudiced we can be. I feel like it just had a lot of social commentary that you wouldn't think would be hidden in this. That is not what I was expecting from this book. But I felt that so strongly, of just that shame that she felt for being someone who she didn't have any control of being. I mean, they can't help that, and I just, wow. Also, in this universe, on the moon, there lives a colony of people called Lunars. They have special powers, and they have been threatening to declare war on Earth. And the only way that Queen Lavanna, the queen of the moon, will agree to not declaring war, so she says, is marrying the emperor. So that causes a lot of political tension. The Earth is already dying because of the plague and everything. They're still recovering from World War IV, and so this whole Queen Lavanna thing is stressing everyone in the palace out, and somehow Cinder gets herself wrapped into this political issue, and shit goes down. But I just loved the political conflict as an aspect in this book too, to go along with everything else, because you really get to look at this world kind of as an overview. I also loved Prince Kai. I thought he was so charming and sweet, and he didn't have that prince glimmer. He clearly had no idea what he's doing and what it means to be prince or becoming emperor while his father is dying. And I thought his character was very endearing and sweet. And I loved how Cinder was kind of like a badass. Even though she had this weakness for Prince Kai, it's like, no, she was still herself. She didn't want to, you know, she wasn't immediately falling for this prince. She was like, stay away from me. I have my own plans. I have my own life. But of course, you know, things don't always play out that way. The world building didn't come right away, so I was a little lost as to like where we are, what society is like, that kind of thing. But it did. It slowly built up. And then now I kind of understand what society they're living in, which is really nice because you didn't spend a whole 3 chapters trying to build a world. You're kind of spending that time getting to know the characters, which I really appreciated. One of my favorite characters was Aiko, I don't know how to say her name, but she was so funny. She was my favorite character. She had such a dynamic personality. I felt like I could really picture her. And it did take me a little bit to try and picture, like, what does a cyborg look like? What do all the robots look like and the droids and things like that? But once I had an idea of what they look like, I was hooked in. I mean, I really felt like I was like watching a movie while reading this. Like, it was so good. Like, it was just so good. And I was hooked. I mean, I devoured it in just a couple days, and I did not expect to do that because it wasn't something that I thought I was going to enjoy that much. I was reading it because I wanted to know what all the hype was about, and now I get it. The evil characters in this book were so well done. Like, Queen Lavanna was terrifying. Like, I was genuinely scared of her because she has this, like, air about her that you could feel through the pages and through the descriptions. You could feel how purely evil she is. And same with Audrey. Even though you do get that whole Cinderella stepmother, you feel a little bit bad for her because her husband died and she's got these daughters and then she has the orphan, but she's just plain nasty and mean, and she makes me so angry. Same with one of the stepdaughters. The difference in this one is that one of the stepdaughters is very nice and a good friend of Cinder's, and she loves her little sister. And, you know, things happen with that, and there's a lot of tragedy that Cinder deals with, but she never lets it define her. And you can still see she has insecurity. She's worried about being a cyborg. She doesn't want anybody to know. People are ashamed of her, and she carries that with her. But you really see her growth into realizing that she does not need that to define her, and I really loved her character. I really felt like the pacing was good too. Like, you could tell this was a series, obviously, that it's leading into other books, but I was so excited. I didn't feel like any part of it was rushed. As soon as I finished it, I wanted more from the characters. I wanted more from the world. I immediately wanted to jump into the other one because I wanted to know what happens next. And even though the next one has different characters in it, I know that the stories intertwine and keep going, so Cinder is still going to be in Scarlet, which made me really excited because I was worried. Because as soon as this one ended, I was like, no, like, now I'm going to have to move on to new characters, and I don't want to do that because I want to know what happens to her and Prince Kai and everything. And luckily, it keeps going, so I'm really excited. I definitely recommend this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Obviously, I'm so late to the game. You've probably seen a million of these reviews like years ago, but I'm just so excited about it, and I wanted to share that excitement. So if you're even hesitating a little bit to read this, if this is not up your alley at all, read it, because that's how I felt about it, and I'm just really happy I read it because it was amazing. The writing is phenomenal, flawless writing, like just flows like no other. There's like no hiccups or awkward parts, and I just, oh god, this book was just so good. I just can't even get over it. I'm wondering if there's even anything bad to say about it. There isn't. It's like, it's not too clunky, you know, like I feel like sci-fis can get kind of clunky, especially when you're doing fantasy fairy tale remakes, but not at all. Marissa Meyer has now become one of my favorite authors. I love her writing. This is great. This is just a perfect book. I want to buy them all in hardback. Like, why am I buying paperback? I should have bought the whole series straight off the bat. This is so good. Guys, what have I been missing? Where have I been? I'm so disappointed in myself. This was amazing. Read it. That's all I got to say. Just read it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot wait to read the second one, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Cinder and what you thought about the book if you've read it recently, and if not, I can't wait to hear what you think if you read it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.